I think one maybe simple reason, or maybe a very deep reason, is they're seeking for happiness in a very simple way, and the other thing is also there are, a lot of challenges, a lot of difficulties which people don't know kind of how to resolve them, and because they do so much things, they work so much, and they're trying to achieve so much, they do gain so much, but still they miss something inside. I think they're seeking for that sense of happiness and meaning in their life. I think that's one reason. And also sometime like when they are in other traditions, I feel they're also feeling not enough how they're grown up and what they're informed with. So because in the teaching in the Buddhism, there is a sense of a freedom or intellectual freedom, so that you have a total right to explore and analyze and judge, and you won't be punished for that. So they feel a sense of freedom for that. At the same time, the experiences are very acknowledged, so that if you do these practices, you will have these experiences. If you have these obstacles, you do these things, these obstacles will be clear. So the explanations are very precise, a lot of depth in them, stages, and then when people do have experiences, there are also some explanations, some place for them. So experiential part is very acknowledged, and there's a very important. So both, there's some sense of richness of experiences and intellectual informations, and both are equally acknowledged and respected, rather than saying you don't analyze or you're saying your experience is not right. So there's a lot of space for that. After being long time in the West, and also being very open to the West, and also being very open to people, and listening and trying to understand and hear people, I think it's something, a very natural process in me, something that I did not make a decision or overnight, this is how I'm going to do. It's not lighting, it's over many years of experiences. And I began to de-emphasize a little bit different direction. So I began to emphasize the people rather than the text. I began to emphasize personal stories rather than ideas of things. So my teachings that I do is very much based on wisdom traditions, but it is very much, emphasis is very much about people and the stages of their own existence. And originally when Buddha said that all the different type of teachings are taught because there were different type of mentality. So I follow the Buddha in that way, so that you cannot teach in the same way in a different culture, because they will not understand it. So I think it's just, for me, it's a very natural process, And I also I must say that it is not only that what I teach to Westerners, that's how I'm feeling also. Because I'm feeling, anytime I read something, I cannot just read something trying to understand intellectual meaning of it. I always need to understand what it means to me, how I can practice, how it can change me. So I want the teaching to be, for me, a personal development, not some just ideas which has no relation to me. Then it doesn't make sense to me. So I think that is the basis why, in some way, I think people feel more connection to me. Sometimes I hear people say that two sisters one time came to my teaching, One has been coming for a long time. The other one just came first time. And the new one who came first time, she said, did my sister told you everything about my life? I said, no. She said, the whole evening you were talking about me. But of course, I was not talking about her. I was talking about anybody. It could be me. So I feel that many times as a teacher, I feel success when everybody is feeling that I'm only talking to them. Then I say, yes, I did a good job. When I'm teaching, nobody is feeling that he's talking to us. I feel not successful as a teacher. So for me, it's to connect. It's important. Yeah, so I think, like sometime, especially in the West, especially to new people, especially to beginners, especially people who have never have heard anything, I think just a wrong vocabulary can throw them away. They will say, thank you, goodbye. So sometimes I think it's important to use the right kind of vocabulary that they understand. So I think it's just important to choose who you're talking to, what you're talking, what is the purpose. Because eventually, when they are ready, then you can different depth of the teaching, different vocabulary in the practices, you can go different. But know who you're talking. Obviously, I think it's very important. Well, I think it depends on what one mean by shamanism, So generally, when I look at shamanism, I look at that as working with nature, working with the nature spirits. So plants and so on. So I think in Bon tradition, we say 9 ways of Bon. It has those elements too in it, and it is important part of it. And then it also have more like, let's give one very specific example. You talk about 5 elements. You can talk about earth, water, fire, air, space. You can talk about the spirit of the fire, spirit of the water. You can talk about the spirits of the water, or you can talk about the wind, the energy of the fire, energy of the water, the chakras and channels of the elements in the body, or you can talk about a state of fire, a state of in the consciousness level of the 5 elements. So from raw to energetic to the state of consciousness, they all are true, they all are valid from my point of view, because you cannot divide them. So I think in the Bon tradition, it's a very good mix. It's kind of, it encompasses all of them together. Because sometimes some shamans, when they are working with the raw element, when you talk about the energy in the body and element in the body, they go, what are you talking about? When you talk about awareness, different awareness state, or they have no clue what you're talking about. On the other hand, when people are talking so much about philosophy, about the element, when they talk about the spirits or the raw element, they don't relate. So for me, they are not separate. We have to learn how they are interconnected. The most important thing in Buddhism is we talk about wisdom and compassion, and wisdom and compassion in both meaning. In a sense of wisdom is what wisdom is. It's very much sense of a selflessness. So the importance of not everything what you do is driven from your ego. So some sense that sometimes I think in ethics, like sometimes when people are so much focused on themselves, then others are not so important. What they're trying to achieve becomes more important than other people. So then I think there's a lot of social injustice and the environmental disasters like a global warming and all these things I think many times come into play. So in the Buddhist teaching is very much on like more like a collective than individual purposes, like others than too much focus on oneself. So these teaching I think has a very important value on an ethic, Basically, that everything what we are searching, it's here with us, not in terms of the material, direct material. I'm not saying if you're searching for €1 million, maybe €1 million is not with you, but what €1 million will do or give you, it's with you. So if you think about security, which is most of the time people think that money in terms of the security. If I have this amount of money, then I will feel secure. For sure, the people who have that amount of money, for sure, they are not feeling secure. Even we collectively believe you should supposed to feel it. And particularly, we think that way when we don't have it. And we do have it, they stop thinking about that because they realize it's not doing anything change. So what we believe is inner search is very much everything what we are looking for is already here. And if you go inside, you will find them. And to journey inward, there are obstacles of ego, the fears, ignorance, and these are the things that when you journey in, you will face these, there are moments your fear will come up, there are moments your ignorance will come up, there are moments your agitation and anger will come up. All these different emotions may come up, but you have to step by step, transcend them, your journey inward until you find that place inside yourself where you do feel everything is there. And definitely that is the purpose of the inner search. I think in a way that every human being is looking for the same thing. Every human being are creating a different means to looking for the same thing. Either you look at different name of different religion, or name of different therapeutic techniques, or name of different philosophies, or name of in different technology, but I think in a way they all are looking for the same thing. So in that sense, I think, yeah, the answer is yes. Yeah. In Buddhism, again, I think, of course, somebody might immediately say, yes, Buddhism does not believe in a God, and so on. But I think it also really depends on what you mean by God, how you define the God, If you define God as one individual who is up there, have complete personality, and who is controlling, who has the remote control of every people, everything, yes, Buddhism does not believe that, because Buddhism does not believe that everything what exists, everything what is happening is controlled by one individual or one entity. Buddhism doesn't believe that. Buddhism believes in karma. That means whatever it's happening because of individual and collective karmic forces. It's the outcome. So if you do the right thing, then you will be born in the right place. So they say, if you wanted to know your past, what you did in the past, look at who you are today. If you wanted to know who you wanted to be in the future, look at what you do today. So what you do is where you go. So we all are responsible in a way. We have to be responsible for ourselves. So they don't believe, or you are being mean, you do the wrong thing, and somehow the God sees you, says, okay, I'm in a good mood, I excuse you what you did. Or God in a bad mood saying, no, even though you're doing the right thing, we are going to punish you. They don't believe in that way. Well, if in a sense, if you look at God as what we call like a dharmakaya, not personality, who is the source, essence, beyond sexes, beyond personality, beyond wanting anything, needing anything, that source, that essence. And if in Christianity, in a Christian mystic or anybody, I don't know which very much, so if they believe something like that, then there is a more sense of closeness, I think, there. Yeah. Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's very close. I think in generally speaking, the Buddhist view is very close or much closer to the science, and particularly in quantum physics theories of basically that everything depends on observer. Observer is changing observed. In the absence of observer, the observed disappear. And sometimes I think that's why meditations that we do, it works, because the observer, the problem creator, is always there creating problems in your life. So if you're trying to resolve your problem, you will not resolve your problem because you are not addressing who is creating the problem. Sometimes the one who is trying to resolve the problem is the one who is creating a problem, but it's wearing a different face, what I call it smart ego. So you cannot dissolve. But if in the practices, it's rather than dissolving what has created, it's dissolving who is creating. So it's very much address who than what. So when you work like that, when the observer is gone, the problem is not there. So it's very much in that sense, the theory about observer influencing observed. I think there are very many similars like that. Yes, I absolutely think. I think not only in a Buddhist sense of spirituality, but all the other spiritual beliefs, there is more secular ethics, and because sometimes the major religion sometimes not doing the way they were supposed to do. Sometimes they are more very much structural, and the emphasis are shifted more toward their own gain than the well-being of the teaching. So sometimes because of that, I think people are seeking more what the message than the way the source of the message is coming from. So I think, like I think you see all the time that people are beginning to take some pieces of the things and trying to work with them. Yes, absolutely. And I think His Holiness the Dalai Lama is also sometimes emphasizing that, so that some core teaching messages are important to apply for everybody. They say you can practice Buddhist practice not becoming a Buddhist. It's okay. So in a way that if you're practicing Buddhist not being Buddhist, then it's becoming a more secular. I think when people meet with the different faith, and I think it really opens a lot, because I think even all the world leaders, the world leaders who are admired, who are well respected, who are very open, who are change makers in the world. I think one of the things why they are who they are, because they are intercommunication with other faiths. If they are living in one country, if they are living in one faith, if they are not traveling, communicating with others, they won't be saying what they say. They will not be changing. So definitely, because sometimes when they go encounter with other faith, sometimes they might think it's a little strange, but I have to open. Sometimes they feel, well, that's a wonderful way of thinking. Sometimes they might think, oh, that's a very similar way of way I think. So sometimes you think, as much as I feel the need of respect what I do, you begin to recognize the others need to respect what they do. So you have a mutual respect, mutual sense of purpose. So I think definitely these interdialogues become a very important cause of secular ethic. I think the most important value of mankind is, as we said in earlier, that so somehow that the wisdom and compassion, if you think in terms of the teaching, two terms, that respecting others as much as you respect yourself, trying to understand others as much as you need to understand yourself. So some sense that a collective sense, a collective purpose. I think if you see the value in collective purpose, I think then there is some hope, because collective, what I mean by collective is that, sometimes countries, they look at, as in terms of when they are doing business, that they're always trying to look how much profit we are going to make out of the other countries. It's not going to work. Or even the rich people, they think, they become rich because they sell product to the poor people. They're interdependent. So they cannot have anything, buyer, they're not going to buy what they produce. So somehow everything is so much interconnected. So if you see the value about that, a collective purpose, that others' well-being is your well-being, I think then there is some sense of hope, because it's not like a group of people are going to live happy and rest of the people are going to suffer. Everything is interdependent. Even the nature, you cannot destroy the nature to take everything out of the nature, trying to gain something, because in the end, if you don't have the nature, where are you going to even not survive? Like very basic things. With no water, what are you going to do with your money? With no air, what are you going to do with your money? So in some sense, we are very interdependent with the nature and with each other. So if there is some sense of a collective view, that collective happiness is my happiness, a collective gain is my gain. Because in the Buddhist teaching, sometimes you will say, others' gain is my gain. But if you cannot say that, at least collective gain is our gain, or my gain. I think it's a good start.